He speaks on the phone and the president gives him the order to take the cash. So I'm the one who takes the bag to him, to his residence.
Most of the time they are with black bags. Then the sports bag. I have given money to the president. Some months, it's every day the money will be coming.
Smallest will be 100,000 US$. It might be 1 billion US$.
Al Jazeera's investigative unit has obtained secretly recorded confessions and a major data leak. Over 10 gigabytes of documents, photos, and messages. They tell the story of the president of the Maldives, Yamin Abdul Gayoom. It is a tale of corruption, thuggery, and international money laundering.
What words would he use to describe Yamin?
Reclusive, brutal, corrupt, authoritarian.
He had just a bicycle when he started politics. But now he's a billionaire.
He is the mafia head. He presents himself as that. He behaves like that.
The data trove leads to Singapore and a plot to launder up to $1.5 billion through the Maldives Central Bank.
Hi, Mr. Faisal. Come in. You recognize me? I've seen your picture.
We have tracked down the men behind the deal. Men who move billions of dollars in cash stacked on pallets.
How many pallets you have? 300, 500?
Well, not that big.
Then that's not big then.
Seriously?
So long as they don't sell arms, my conscience is clear.
A journalist who criticized the government disappeared. A television station torched.
Anyone and everyone who expresses different opinion, in some way have been punished.
Everybody is afraid.
To the outside world, the Maldives is a picture of paradise. But the local people don't live on luxury resorts. For them, it's either the cramped capital or underdeveloped islands. Their paradise has not just been lost, it has been stolen.
What's happening in the Maldives is outrageous. We gave out islands, we didn't sell them.
Over $300 million have gone missing, embezzled.
I'm Will Jordan. I lived and worked in the Maldives as a journalist a decade ago. I returned to investigate the country's ruler after obtaining an extraordinary data drop. The information provides hard proof of long-held suspicions.
I didn't realize that they were using the state for all sorts of criminal activities. We'd heard rumors, but up until now, we hadn't seen any proof.
The leak is the contents of 3 mobile phones. Everything from secret documents to selfies. Taken together, they tell a story of corruption. The man on the phone, M.D.P, the country's youngest vice president at just 33. In his phone messages, Vice President M.D.P portrays himself as more than just a politician.
I am boss of all gangs in the Maldives. They all operate as a fleet. I took them over in the last election.
Ahmed swapped football for politics, becoming tourism minister in 2013.
The tourism ministership is known as the ATM because that's what brings in revenue for the government. It was also quite amazing, his transformation from 2012 to last year. He increased massively in size. He was just so fat. And it was also all the bling bling, like so many rings, the haircut, the glasses, the suits, the cars. It was unbelievable.
He referred to himself and his friends as bro, and the system became known as the bro economy.
He was just flaunting his wealth, and he always had a group of other bros around him, and they were also in parliament, so he made sure a lot of his former football player friends got elected to parliament, and they were all the same.
Ahmed Adib's phone messages reveal how he and his boss, President Yamin, stole paradise.
He was just a shadow, a very loyal shadow of President Yamin. He took the money, he got the money, he distributed the money.
Once in power, the two men offered islands at knockdown prices to international hotel chains.
He was selling out our nation from under our feet. They were 5 million, 3 million, 2 million.
This building houses the Maldives Marketing and PR Corporation. It was the cash machine, and they illegally withdrew millions. Ablo Ziad was appointed director and regularly received texts from Vice President Adib to arrange their deals.
3 checks, 1 3 million, 1 million, 1 million. Bro, gifts also in that. Bro, don't worry, man.
He gave a free rein to Ablo Ziad, his accomplice at the MMPRC, to just hand out islands and all these deals. It was so clear that from day one, they never intended for this money to actually be used for public good.
The scam begins when unwitting tourism tycoons pay a fee for an island, say $5 million. They would make out the check to the Maldives Marketing and PR Corporation. But Ablo Ziad rewrote the rules to allow checks to be diverted. He would put his signature and stamp on the back, and it would be paid into another account, cashed out and embezzled. These 2 checks total over $5 million US. The checks were paid from the government corporation to companies controlled by Adib's uncle. The data show how Vice President Adib led the theft of nearly $80 million of state funds.
Better make it cash or something, because we don't want anyone to know any details of our deals, bro.
Okay.
The government is even planning a special tax-free zone for investors. Vice President Adib joked about the opportunities it would offer.
We will make zone deals, not only islands.
The untouchables.
But being untouchable can be expensive. We have obtained secretly filmed confessions given by men who worked closely with the Vice President and his boss. They describe how stolen money was used to buy influence.
Since he came to power, he has been bribing the MPs, the judges, lawyers, and everyone else. The whole system is corrupted.
The president's money men are on the run in the UK. The Maldives government has put them under international arrest warrants. The men say the government wants them back because they know too much about President Yamin.
I think that's why the president is scared. He didn't know that I had all the information.
Each man describes how he rode around on a moped delivering bribes. Money stolen from the people and given to the Maldives' most influential.
I have
have been met some of the senior members of the government. I have just personally go and gave them the money. Cash in, cash out. Always comes in, it goes out. Yeah, I just call them and they just tell where they are, and I say just go and drop it.
The plan was not just to use the money to buy politicians, but judges as well. Like Ali Hamid at the Supreme Court. The phone messages expose him in receipt of stolen money.
Last night you gave Ali Hamid $4,000?
Yes.
Okay, good.
In 2012, there were audio clips and videos that were leaked that appeared to show a man that sounded and looked like Ali Hamid having sex with 3 different women in a Colombo hotel room. And also of a conversation he'd had with a local businessman where he said, "I'm a Yamin man."
The messages show that for a fee, Judge Hamid was a Yamin man. The tuition fees for 2 of his children abroad, and jobs for his brother and cousin bought loyalty until the next election.
We will remain soldiers till the mission is over in 2018. We will never let them destroy our president and his team's achievement.
After the sex tapes, Judge Hamid came under investigation. 6 months later, Vice President Adib managed to close the inquiry.
Read the news. I have saved our patriot Ali Hamid. 6 months' work.
My dear brother, you and His Excellency the President did more than enough for me and my family. I will always be grateful, sir.
And after that video, he was appointed as the Chief of the Judicial Service Commission. That's the Maldives that we are talking about.
We're talking about a man who was caught on camera having sex with 3 different women in a country where young women get regularly flogged for having sex outside of marriage.
With the judges in their pocket, Vice President Adib and President Yamin could act with impunity. Several media organizations were attacked. Rajah TV was torched in October 2013. Shani Ziad is the head of the English department.
Everything was burned down, everything, all our equipment is in here. It was all burnt down. But we started 10 hours later in the new building.
Undeterred, the channel continued to broadcast. A year later, the Vice President asked police to repeat the attack. But the Chief of Police suggested intimidating the channel's investors instead.
Blast it again.
No. I guess better to control sponsors.
Okay, give me the list.
Journalist Ahmed Rilwan vanished over 2 years ago. He was a reporter for Maldives Independent. Zahina Rashid is the editor.
On August 10th, when he didn't show up for work, we thought, okay, he's hibernating. Monday, he didn't turn up for work. Tuesday is when his family said, we haven't been able to reach him, and that's when we got worried.
They began retracing his final journey. They found CCTV footage of him at the ferry terminal, and they believe he was being watched.
He took the 1 o'clock ferry. When Rilwan got off the ferry, he didn't get on the bus, but he walked home. Sometimes I wonder, like, why did he walk home? We've all received death threats. If he'd just gone home earlier, he would be here today. He might be here today.
This
This is the corner. It's just changed so much. So he lived on that apartment up there, on the top floor. Between 1:30 and 2 o'clock, they saw like a man being forced into a car at knife point. And the car driving off really fast. The car drove so fast, the people in the car didn't have time to close the door.
2 weeks after Rilwan went missing, police had few leads. The case had become high profile, but the president was not concerned. He instructed the Home Affairs Minister to take it easy on the investigation.
Umar, no need to be overwhelmed by Rilwan case.
Okay, noted, sir.
At the very least, it implies a massive cover-up by the government. Worst, it implies that the president and the vice president were involved and ordered his abduction. We lobbied every single government body or state body that we could think of. I mean, we knocked on every single door, and none of these places responded.
Rilwan's family suspect he was investigating corrupt island deals.
It's a corrupted place where only the people who says yes without questioning who get the benefits of everything. But since we keep on questioning, we are targeted.
It wasn't just the abduction, but it was also the fact that the entire state failed. I think that was even harder, the realization that when something happens to you, the people who are entrusted with your safety don't care. I think that was even harder.
The government has sold islands cheaply all over the Maldives. Today, in the Greater Malé Atoll, there isn't a single lagoon left to develop.
Altogether, I was informed more than 60 islands were given out. It's not only islands, shallow lagoons that's scattered all over the Maldives. Everything has been sold.
One of the murkiest deals was for the island of Margot.
This is the place that we gonna circle around once we go to the other atoll.
Margot itself, it could easily fetch 10 million US dollars if you put into the proper tendering process. Only 2.5 million was received to the government.
The buyer was New Mood Resorts, led by Italian Gianandrea Tossi. According to a report by the Maldives Auditor General, the deal broke the law because there was no open bidding. Forged documents also emerged surrounding the deal. They involved companies linked to the vice president's uncle. We've shown our evidence to an anti-corruption analyst.
The money ended up in an account controlled by a company that was involved with the family member of the tourism minister. Again, that's a really classic case of corruption, where you mix business, family members, politics, and money goes missing.
They basically designed these transactions to look normal, but in fact these transactions are designed to steal public funds.
Adib's phone messages show the deal involved a Maldivian gangster known as TC Dave. Weeks after the deal was done, the details came out. Adib asked TC Dave if he was behind the leak.
Bro, Tossi or your guys are giving this info?
No, don't think so. Few know we made a deal. But figures and transactions?
The Auditor General's report suspected corruption. Despite that, workers are building 99 villas. A resort is due to open in 2017 under the banner of Italian hotel chain Baglioni.
The government is selling these islands on behalf of the people of the Maldives. You need to really look at the basis of those deals and start questioning, is this a fair transaction? Have the people of the Maldives got the deal that they should have done?
All those companies who got these islands do not have the right to get these islands in the first place. So, the government of Maldives should take back these islands.
Baglioni hotels say they were not aware of any corruption in the island deal. New Mood Resorts and Gianandrea Tossi deny any involvement in the corruption and say they did not fake any documents or transactions. The Auditor General's report concluded that money was stolen from a total of at least 59 island deals.
The amount of money involved in this is huge.
Without realizing that corruption went right to the top, the Auditor General submitted his report to the President.
Even I personally informed him. He basically ignored everything. They just changed the law, and then Auditor General was removed from his office. It was me. Following publication of this report, 11 members of my family received death threats.
They weren't idle threats. Corrupt police officers informed Vice President Adib of the audit, and they conspired to silence another voice.
You guys need to focus on this Auditor General.
No worries.
Maybe we need to light up his office, as he is continuously making trouble for us.
We checked that place. Lots of cameras everywhere.
Okay, but you need to blast it at any cost.
Sure, let's do it.
But need to blast it at any cost. Oh my God. Oh my God. These guys were trying to blast the office with 200 staffs. Oh my God. Crazy. State-sponsored terrorism against its own people and institution. How could they do this? Oh dear. Such a dirty government. I never imagined. Sure, let's do it. This is coming from SO Police. Let's do it. I think the reason why this thing was going on is I warned them I'm going to publish the report. So they were trying to stop us from publishing this report. I never knew that it was actually organized at this level. And then Maldives Police Service, who is supposed to be there to protect and serve us, would be behind these things. And unbelievable.
In part 2, President Yamin's impunity grows, and so do the deals. We confront men involved in using the Maldives to shift up to $1.5 billion.
Sir, do you help people launder money?
My God, how can you even say that? Say it to my face. How can you even say that?
$1.5 billion of physical cash is pallet loads of money. It's something from a James Bond film.
In part 1, we discovered how President Yamin Abdul Gayoom has turned the Maldives into a mafia state. Men biking bags of cash around the capital for the president and his cronies.
He has conquered the whole system.
Later, a plot to move up to $1.5 billion in cash. We reveal the Asian businessmen involved.
Much as they say money is dirty, I don't deal with arms and drugs. That's it.
A decade ago, the Maldives was a place of optimism and reform. 30 years of one-party rule had ended. Mohammed Nasheed became the country's first democratically elected president in 2008. With stunts like an underwater cabinet meeting, he cultivated a global profile as climate campaigner.
If Maldives cannot be saved today, we do not feel that there is much of a chance for the rest of the world.
But Nasheed's future was to be shaped by events in one of Asia's major financial centres. His officials detected a massive fraud. It started in Singapore, but it would end in the Maldives.
That was a very big scandal, and the amounts involved in those transactions and that corruption is also very, very big.
It concerned the Singapore branch of the Maldives State Trading Organization. From the 90s until 2005, Yamin was in charge.
Yamin was the chairman of the STO. He formed an oil company registered in Singapore. This company was selling oil to Burma.
It had the hallmarks of fraud, so Maldives police worked with Singaporean officers to investigate. Nasheed's government launched a court case, which would soon implicate Yamin. We have obtained 2,000 pages of legal papers. They lay out President Yamin's role. The alleged fraud adds up to over $140 million. The STO imported oil to the Maldives. Yamin allegedly helped divert some of it to Myanmar's military junta. An additional secret company was set up. The STO invoiced Myanmar. So did the secret company. Its profits were embezzled.
This is a way of siphoning off money, seemingly, for their own enrichment. When you control lots of the levers of government, you can abuse those levers by profiting from the money that the government is taking in.
By 2012, Nasheed's officials had the evidence in place to charge Yamin with fraud. They were ready to take the case to trial. Then at home, a mutiny. Mohammed Nasheed was ousted, marched out of the president's office.
On the day of the coup, we were just about to announce some of the details of that case. I was under threat, I was under pressure, and I was forced to resign. And most certainly, Yamin himself was leading it.
Away from the unrest, the new government stopped the investigation. The case was quickly closed and the paperwork locked away. Yamin had got away with it. A year later, he was president, and his first target, his old adversary. Mohammed Nasheed was arrested in February 2015. A month later, sentenced to 13 years in prison. Yamin had turned the tables on Nasheed. Our evidence suggests President Yamin personally chose the length of Nasheed's sentence. The vice president's driver describes in secretly filmed video how it was done.
That day Nasheed was sentenced, they called me and told me to pick a letter, so I went there and he gave me something written without an envelope. I just opened it. It was written Nasheed sentence. So I just went and gave to Adib. He was just laughing. Then he just called President called, there's something has to be changed. That night they sentenced Nasheed.
So it appears that your sentence of 13 years for terrorism was ordered directly by the president.
Well, it's sad. Not only because I've been unlawfully and illegally held for so long, and my family has been uprooted from my home. I have had to leave the Maldives. All of these politically motivated sentences are being directed by President Yamin. I've been told the same, but you've of course proven it beyond doubt, that these sentences are dished out by the president himself.
So if I was arrested tomorrow in the Maldives, what hope do I have of a free and fair trial?
Zero.
Why?
If you do any little thing that challenge the existing power status quo, then you are done. Then you go into jail, then you can sit there.
This is not an independent judiciary at all. It's a judiciary hijacked by the executive, by the president. It's probably the most corrupt institution in the country.
In power and with their rival in prison, the Maldives became a playground for President Yamin and his deputy Adib. They stepped up the scale of their ambitions. Phone messages, photos, documents and emails reveal a new plot.
I am trying to bring $1 billion for a project.
The total soon rose to $1.5 billion. It was hard currency.
$1.5 billion of physical cash is pallet loads of money. This is stuff that physically weighs a lot. The fact that they're bringing this in physical cash is a huge red flag of money laundering.
Vice President Adib worked on the project with 3 of the president's closest aides, including his nephew. They laid out an island investment plan to a group of secretive businessmen. The tourism ministry sent the men lagoon coordinates. They outlined a resort investment scheme for an implausibly large $1.5 billion. But it was a ruse to make the plot appear legitimate.
The government is making a cover story of giving us a project development. For that, the funds will be brought.
The middleman was Singaporean Tan Kuan Yew. He replied to ministers, spelling out the details of the scheme.
When the physical fund arrives in Maldives, we need support from the Maldives Monetary Authority to secure the fund from the aircraft to bank premises for verification, counting, and ensure immediate credit to our bank account.
The cargo was the equivalent of 12 pallets piled with $100 bills. The plan was to fly it into the Maldives. Soldiers then escort it to a vault, where it is verified and counted. The Maldives Central Bank then credits a private bank account. Then the money looks clean and can be transferred out bit by bit.
After the account is credited, $10 million will be telegraph transferred to Singapore or Hong Kong. The balance will stay. If I can't find suitable usage after 6 months, the money will be telegraph transferred out.
Flying in $1.5 billion in hard cash, saying that it's going for a development and then moving it on. This amount of money and in physical cash I think is quite unusual. I haven't seen an example of this amount of cash being laundered through a central bank before. It's something from a James Bond film.
Vice President Adib gave one possible explanation of where the money was coming from, and the central bank governor said it could be done.
It's all flight capital. People want to move here, mostly since Indonesian elections. A lot of offshore oil trade money.
If they can provide the details of the source of the funds and the legitimacy of earning, we can find a way.
It seems as though those at the very top of the government were involved in this supposed deal to move this money. There are examples of lots of countries where the government is effectively run by crooks.
Emails and text messages show Tan Kuan Yew was representing secretive financiers, a mysterious boss referred to only as Mr. Hands. A mining and energy investor, Indonesian Rosihan Yaakob. A British-educated Indonesian who runs an iron ore mine, Abdul Hakam Hadi. Here he's pictured with the Malaysian architect of the deal, Faizan Hassan. He spun the web of front companies through which the money would be laundered. Faizan's Facebook account shows he was in Iran in early 2015, the time of the plot. And this email from Tan Kuan Yew suggests the cash came not from Indonesia, but Iran. We caught up with Mr. Faizan in a luxury mall in the Malaysian capital. Mr. Faizan, my name is Will Jordan. I'm from Al Jazeera's investigative unit. I wanted to talk to you about the Maldives and about cash flying into the Maldives under your company City Trusted Administrator. You know anything about that?
What is all this about?
Sir, do you know Tan Kuan Yew?
Tan Kuan Yew? Tan Kuan Yew. Kuan Yu.
Tan Kuan Yu from Singapore. He has a company
yes,
called
yes.
Idea 5, Tanstar.
I've met him before.
Abdul Hakam Hadi?
Hakam Hadi, yes, of course, Malaysian.
And what's your relationship with him?
He comes back to our office often.
And Rosihan Yaqub?
Of course, I've met him before. He's an Indonesian guy.
So we have evidence of a plot to fly in hundreds of millions, up to $1.5 billion in cash
I'd
to
like
the
to do
Maldives.
this. Yeah, that's a lot of money.
And then transfer it to the State Bank of India. And from to an account under the name of City Trust and Administrator.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
And it looks like money laundering. Why would anyone want to move that kind of cash?
Why would I want to do?
Are you trying to move cash into the Maldives?
I've been doing this business for 35 years and I don't do such things.
Sir, do you help people launder money?
My God, how can you even say that? Say it to my face. How can you even say that?
Sir, do you offer a service in which I can bring large amounts of cash to you and you will clean it for me?
No way.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
But that's not what Mr. Faidzan had told our undercover reporter minutes earlier.
Hi, Mr. Faidzan. How are you? Come in.
You recognize me?
I've seen your picture.
He met Mr. Faidzan under the guise of being an investment executive with a number of very wealthy clients.
I've set aside time for you.
Do you take milk?
No, thank you.
We basically look after high net worth individuals.
We told him our clients were looking to move large amounts of cash, had political connections, and wanted total secrecy. This strongly suggests corruption and should raise red flags. But for Mr. Faidzan, it was business as usual.
Some of these individuals have very substantial sums. Some of it's in cash, and I know that might be an issue for. No, okay. I was reading the.
The businessman appeared well connected.
We don't write it. It's not about the know-how, it's a know-who.
It is know-who.
Mr.
Faidzan outlined what he could and what he couldn't do for us.
Much as they say money is dirty, to me, I don't deal with arms and drugs. That's it. Okay. So long as they don't sell arms, my conscience is clear.
The conversation turned to money laundering.
How do you get around the issue of cash? I mean, if we have very large quantities of cash today,
how many balance do you have?
Well, it's pretty sizable.
300, 500?
Well, not that big.
Then that's not big then.
Seriously, that's a physical. I mean, that physical transaction is
huge. Yeah.
Achievable.
Yeah.
Wow.
Achievable. What currency?
Well, it would be euros and sterling.
Best.
Is that okay?
Because US dollars can be quite tricky.
Because of the US central banks.
Yeah. Currency comes out and to clear the Fed, it's a headache.
Is it? But euros are much easier.
Euros so much easier.
Really?
He had one concern, that the deal was so large it would disrupt the euro currency market.
Although euros, the placement rate is not as fast because market cannot absorb so much immediately, but it can be done.
The deal involved absolute secrecy, hiding our names behind several shell companies.
Let's put it this way, I've layered some of these structures to up to 7 layers.
Really?
Yeah. So various jurisdiction, but this is a huge asset.
So 7 doors which you have to go through to get to the identity of the beneficial owner.
And even at the end of it, the identity of the owner is actually a foundation in my name. And it goes nowhere. And that foundation, they come back to me and say, yeah. So, and it's actually a Panama foundation.
Right. Oh, is it? Still.
The dirty money would go through a central bank in the region.
It'll come to a country in Asia, so I can say for now. Yeah.
And that becomes your conduit.
Arrangements with the central bank and everything else.
Mr. Faidzan told us we have misunderstood his comments and taken them out of context. Faidzan Hassan, Tan Kuan Yu, Abdul Hakam Hadi and Rosihan Yaqub deny any wrongdoing in the plan to transport cash and say no money was moved. We have discovered from secretly filmed confessions how men on mopeds delivered stolen money, bags of cash to a corrupt political class.
Mostly the people that I have went and given cash is the most senior members of Yamin's government.
Ahmed Ishfar Ali was part of a front company used to steal government money.
Actually, mostly we don't text. Actually, I just call them and they just tell where they are. And I say, just go and drop it.
Mohammed Latif, aka Moho, ran the front company.
President Yamin will know me personally because I was involved, I was there, I was managing some of their funds.
In this paying in slip, the name's been blacked out, but it can still be recognized. $500,000 to President Yamin, to his account at the Maldives Islamic Bank. Check number 247. Moho paid it in.
The Vice President asked me to deposit a check to the President's account, directly to his account. I did 2 transactions. I noticed that it was on a fast track. It was transferred that day within 3 hours to that account.
I have given money to the President.
Hussein Mohammed, aka Oite, was Vice President Adib's driver. He delivered the President's money on a moped, huge sums of cash in black sports bags. The Vice President made the arrangements.
I call up Adib and I will tell him that I have received this money. Sometimes he will tell me, go and give to President. For the President, it is, but I mean, it's difficult to carry. One time, Yamin was angry with me. Adib just texted me and asked me to give 100. So I thought it was 100,000. So I took 2 bundles, that is 50-50. Then Yamin came down. He himself came down. So I just gave the money. He was like this. He made the face to me. He told me to give 1 million. The bag is full, 1 million. So again, I had to go to Yamin's place. Then he came and he got the money.
By mid-2015, Vice President Adib had accumulated money, power, and 3 gold iPhones. He travelled all over the world, meeting leaders like China's premier. His plan was coming together. He had installed a friend as Prosecutor General, effectively placing himself above the law.
After that, my power is complete.
Adib even tried to get a gun and 24 bullets.
Bro, what do you have now? 9mm, silencer? How many bullets?
How many do you want?
24.
Okay.
Delete all the messages, bro. For safety for both.
I will.
But the Vice President had risen too far, too fast. In October 2015, a blast hit the President's yacht. The First Lady was hurt, and President Yamin blamed Adib. The Vice President was sentenced for terrorism. But was he behind the blast? We have obtained these previously unseen forensic reports. Lacking expertise, the government called in American FBI investigators and Saudi specialists. Both found no conclusive evidence that there was a bomb. They suggested it was an accident, which in turn suggests the president used the blast as an excuse to remove his closest rival.
We have seen him in operation. We have seen him purging his own government. He has arrested 2 or 3 of his own vice presidents. a number of his own ministers.
Anyone and everyone who expresses different opinion in some way have been punished. Now, there's no exception to this.
Before Vice President Adib could be arrested, he handed his phones to an ally who sneaked them out of the Maldives. A source copied the contents to us. The phone leak, documents and recordings have revealed a paradise conquered, corrupted and stolen.
The system has completely failed. I mean, in such a small place where everyone knows everyone, it's very easy to corrupt the entire system.
It's like a gang operating at the top of our government. President Yamin is involved, police involved, central bank involved, parliament involved, and judiciary involved.
There's no future for the country. So there's no future for us either. Everybody is afraid.
The Maldives is being sold out by these few people who are making money out of the beauty of that country. The country has been stolen bit by bit since Yamin has come into power. He has this need to sell off the country and collect money.
I would say to him that you do not have the right to stay in power now. You have lost the legitimacy, and you are, in my opinion, one of the most corrupt, incapable, and autocratic leader we can ever get.